Hey everybody, GM Josh here. Today what we're going to do is create two characters for the Emberwind RPG, which we will then use in later videos to play and see what we can do. And the characters that we're going to be creating today are Tetsuo, a warrior, and Vulcan, a druid. So yeah, let's get started. So I've already mentioned that Tetsuo is a warrior. We're going to start out in tier 1, which is, basically level 1 in the Emberwind system. So I'm building Tetsuo and apologies to the guys at Emberwind or Namavor if I completely butcher your lore here. I have no idea if a samurai would make any sense at all, but I'm going for a warrior who's going to move quickly across the battlefield and execute just huge amounts of damage in a single blow and continue. He's still going to be tough, he's going to be tanky, but I want him to just be overwhelming when it's his turn. I want him to just totally wipe off a single enemy from the board. I think that's going to fit him well. So anyway, as the Emberwind rules say, tier 1 makes sense if you're beginning, which they certainly are. What we're going to do, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see here, is, let's see, we start off with 20 hit points, tier 1. No subclass. Let's see, 4 to defense and barrier. Where's my defense and barrier? Oh, that's right, it's these two values. So we're gonna go 4 across the board. 8 to all skills. And let's see, 1 to special action limits, trigger, sustain, and amplify, which I believe are over here in the sheet. I think, and we'll get to this as we start dropping into skills, I think amplify, I might try to bump up the amplify limit. I will have to look at his skills again. We'll go through that. He might be good the way he is, the way they are. We'll see. Tide Turner charges. He's just got 2. That makes sense. Wish he had more because the warrior tide turners are pretty awesome. 1 shift square action. 1 to 5 square for move. Pretty standard for everybody. I don't think there's anything to do here. Just move 1 square. Yep. Yeah, pretty typical. The cap check. Let's see, critical 2, accuracy of 10, and a penetration of 5. We'll get into this some more when we start modifying these values, but the cap check is basically how you check in this system to see if you hit something. You roll a d20, and then you apply this formula. If you roll a 2 or below, if we're talking about Tetsuo as he's currently, if it's a 2 or below, it's a critical. Criticals do maximum damage, bypass all armor. They're like the best you could ever roll. Accuracy, if you haven't rolled a critical, then you check your accuracy. If you roll lower than your accuracy score, then you've hit. And then you move on. If you've checked lower than your penetration score in your roll, then that means you've bypassed the enemy's armor. So it's a d20 roll. It's a little different from 5th edition because you're actually trying to get a lower number. A lower number is better here, but we'll deal with that when it comes time. So let's see. The next thing to do are to choose his aspects. Let's see. This is where it's gonna get a little tricky. So I know I don't want Keen. I'm not really too worried about Vicious. Vicious would give one more damage die to all melee actions. That's not terribly great. Part of me wants to go, and when we get to the warrior abilities, you guys will see what I'm going for here, but I'm gonna go for powerful and build up a high penetration score because the warriors have a few abilities that give them extra damage based on their penetration score. So we're gonna increase that. I still gonna go back to accuracy at some point because the thing is, if I don't at least roll a 10, it doesn't really matter what my penetration score is because I still miss. So there's a game I have to play because currently an accuracy of 10 means I have a 50% hit rate, which sucks. But I'm going to start off with giving myself more penetration because I have a plan here that I'm going for. Okay, then we're going to go look at our defensive aspects. Let's see here. I could go... These are tough. These are real tough. Let's see. Vigorous, which makes him more tanky. Defiant, which makes him a little more resistant to spell stuff. I'm going to go Vigorous. I'm going to make him tanky. This could be bad because most like magical effects you take from enemies will not apply to toughness. It will apply to like willpower, but maybe we can build that up later. So I'm going to increase his hit points by 8. Going to increase his toughness by 125 and his resistance to a 5 as well, making him more tanky, which I think is the way to go for him currently. All right, now utility. This is also another one that I'm going to have to think about here. So I'm in tier 1. Do I want sustain, amplify, trigger, tide turner charge, hit points, or movement? This is pretty tough. I don't think I care about sustain because I think he's only got 1 sustain, so that's fine. Amplify, I think I only really care about 1 amplify too and 1 trigger. So I think it's between heroic for tide turner charge, spirited, or swift. I think with Vulcan and the duo that these two are going to be working from together, that I'm feeling Tetsuo is going to be the one that's getting hit a lot. So I'm going to go with spirited. Might be a terrible idea, but that's what we're going to go with here and see what we got. All right. So we are skipping step 3 because we're not doing the attribute system. Skipping all that. Skills, occupations, and maneuvers. We're just gonna go down to pick a occupation for Tetsuo here, and that will determine the bonuses to our skills. So let's see, what would Tetsuo be? So I think acrobatics would be important to him. I think let's see. Yeah, acrobatics is important, probably. Athletics, endurance. So anything that's like athletics, endurance, acrobatics. Acrobatics, endurance, leadership. You know, I can get behind that. Man at arms. Okay. Yeah. I can buy that. Sure. Yeah, that looks good to me. Let's do that. So a +6 to athletics, a +4 to endurance, and then a +4 to leadership. 12. There we go. Cool. And then next are maneuvers that he can choose. Let's zoom out a bit. Let me find where maneuvers go here. I don't know, guys. Where do maneuvers go? Oh, right here at the top. So let's see. I've got a pretty good athletics score. Yeah. Athletics, endurance, or leadership would be good. So athletics, I can make a skill check. Next move action can be used to traverse terrain vertically. Your move action must enter the square you can occupy. That's pretty slick. Don't like that it's a fast action, but that's what it is. Let's see here. Acrobatics. Use this shift action. Make a skill check. +2 squares. Oh, that means you can use a skill check to just move further. Oh, that's a good one. Huh. Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to take those 4 points out of leadership and put them in acrobatics because I really like that one. It goes back to my idea that I want Tetsuo to be moving across the battlefield, just a blur of motion who just destroys anything that he ends up near. So that's what I think we're gonna do. We're gonna go to spring. We're gonna do, as I say, the associated skill is acrobatics. Acrobatics. I think, yep, action speed is free, which is honestly why I'm going for it, because in the system of free action, you can use as many as you want, and it doesn't count off your action pool. So just to be able to just like make him move better if I make the skill check is pretty cool. So I'm just gonna make some notes. When using shift, skill check, and move +2s, +2 squares. So that's cool. If I do the skill check, that means when I shift, I can shift, if I pass rather, then I can shift 3 squares, which is almost the same amount of squares that I would use in move, but move costs a slow action. So if I get the skill check and I pass it, I can basically get a move with just one single fast action, which I think would fit for Tetsuo perfectly. Okay, now looking at equipment. Equipment's gonna be pretty easy. Melee, he's gonna go with the two-handed sword. We're gonna call it a katana. Again, Namavor, I'm sorry if you guys are looking at me thinking, oh god, this guy is killing our lore. What is he doing? Yeah, probably. Sorry. Target, yeah, I don't know what the target is here. I think it's just one enemy. Range is 1 square. Effect is it kills you. Let's see, our tier is 1, so it's gonna be 2d10 versus toughness, and then also gives +2 accuracy and +2 penetration. So let's go set that here. So accuracy now is 12. Penetration is 9. So I'm getting up to the point to where if I hit someone, I'm going to bypass their armor, which is where I want to go with this character for sure. Okay, and then after you have picked a melee weapon, you pick a ranged weapon. Let's see, this is actually a little tougher. Because look at throwing knives. Oh, it's your basic ranged attack is a fast action. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to make any sense to me. So I have a choice here. I could go with a bow or a crossbow for accuracy or penetration. See, here's the thing. Because right now my accuracy is a 12. I need to get that up higher. Because I'm only looking at a 60% chance of a hit right now with an accuracy of 12. I need that to be better. So, that sort of decides what I'm getting. I'm getting a bow. What's the range of the bow? Range is 5. That's not too bad. I will probably never use it though. 2d8 versus toughness +2 accuracy. So now my accuracy is a 14. That a 70% chance, so that's much better. That's so much better. There's still a range between like when I hit and my penetration value. I could roll like a 12, and then I still have to apply armor, but that's better. That makes my dice results better, because if he doesn't hit, then it doesn't really matter what his other stuff is for, because it won't matter. Let's see, heavy armor. Yeah, that's definitely what he's gonna use. There's actually no place on the character sheet to record. Oh, yes there is, right here. You know what? Actually, I need to put the melee thing here too. We're gonna do katana, and then we're gonna do bow. Armor is heavy. Heavy armor. So heavy armor gives tier toughness. So a 6, because I'm tier 1. Toughness, which when I get to play, you guys will see this in effect, but toughness is basically if someone hits you with a melee weapon, you reduce that damage by your toughness score. So while these look low, they're actually pretty good for him. His dodge and willpower are pretty terrible, but it's just the way it is at tier 1. What can you do? Okay, now that we have the equipment, I believe the next step is filling in this stuff for class. So here, what we're going to do is we are going to choose 6 class actions or traits and 2 class Tide Turner actions. So this is where it's going to really get in the nitty gritty, and I'm going to really be agonizing and deliberating over what I'm going to be adding for Tetsuo. So let's get to the warrior here. So many fancy classes. Nope, not a rogue, a warrior. Yes. The warrior. The price of glorious blood. Make sure it's your opponent who pays. That is perfect for you, Tetsuo. Class features: armsman expertise, mow down the enemies with a range of combat techniques. Brutality expertise, overpower your foe with sheer physical force and keenly focused battle fury. Yes. Defender expertise, own the battlefield by controlling foes' movements and shielding your comrades from even the most deadly onslaughts. Yes, yes, all that is good. Very good. So I'm going to zoom in a little more so you guys can see this. Hopefully you can read it a little better, even zoomed in. So we have 6 things that we need to pick from traits and actions. So you're going to see this is going to go quickly. I know the first thing I want powerful, because that's going to add 2 penetration and plus my tier plus 2 damage to all melee damage dealing actions. And that just is for all time. That is amazing. So I kind of got to do that. That's just, I got to have that. So powerful. Don't think there's anything to put here in the drop down. No. Target, no. Just constantly going. Nothing here either. So plus 2p and plus my tier plus 2, so plus 3 damage to all melee attacks. Yes, that is awesome. Okay, next is where we actually start to have to start thinking here. So Staccato Strike is an amplify that when you hit a target foe with a melee damage action, make a basic melee attack directly after against that foe as a free action, and it itself is a fast action. So basically I spend a fast action, and if I hit them with one of my previous melee actions, I get a free attack. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. It's a single amp, which is probably the only amplify I'm gonna run with. So let's do that. Staccato Strike. It is an amplify. It is an exploit. It is 1 melee action. It is melee, and I'm just gonna summarize this because this is pretty complicated. I'm just gonna say when you hit somebody and melee, get a free basic attack. So a basic attack is like he could do his melee strike again with this katana. It's just pretty great. And let's see, that is going to be fast, which is cool because that means when I am getting ready to hit someone, I'll just apply this amplify, and then if I hit, I get another attack for free. So let's talk about those hits. Okay. So we've got Bone Shatter Blow here. We've got Heroic Strike, Cleave. Those are my attacks. So I'm gonna say just right away, Lunging Strike. I don't think that's that great. Now it does increase my melee range, but I don't really care about that. And actually, before we talk about melee attacks, let's talk about the one ability that when I saw in the warrior sheet, I was like, okay, this is gonna be the build. This is gonna be the main thing that I build this guy on, and that's Lethal Drive. So Lethal Drive is a sustain, so I've got to activate it. It is a slow action. So, my first round in combat, I got to activate this, but I'm going to maintain it the whole time, so that's cool. But here's the ability. When you make a move action, plus P damage to your next damage dealing melee action, max plus 10. So what that means is my first melee action, when it hits, I get to add my penetration to that damage. So my penetration is 9 now with powerful. My penetration is going to be an 11. Actually, I'll just go ahead and type that in there so I don't forget. No, I'm gonna go back to 9 because I might one day use my bow. But anyway, I basically have this capped already because my penetration is 9 plus 2 from powerful. With my first melee attack, as long as I have the sustain, I will be doing a plus 10. That's crazy. So I gotta have that. That's a requirement to this build, I think. So, lethal drive. Lethal drive is a sustain. Exploit. Self, just me. Nothing here. When you make a move action, plus P to damage on first attack. Which I think is going to be insane. The only downside is that it is slow, so that means he just kind of have to take a minute, and I should put max 10 so I don't get a little excited and go crazy and try to hit someone for more than 10. Okay, so we've got that. So the next thing that matters, yeah. So lethal drive. Now we need to talk. I think now we can go back to the melee attacks and go from there. So we're gonna kind of strike out lunging. We're gonna mark out lunging strike. I don't think it's very good. It does add on to range, and that's cool. But especially with lethal drive, we need Tetsuo to be moving. That's really important. He needs to be moving around. If he's moving around, he makes more damage. So standing still and just attacking further away, it's not that great. Now I realize that could help me get to enemies farther away, but that's so situational. I only have 3 abilities left, or 3 class actions left, so we're going to skip that for now. But let's take a look at the others. So Bone Shatter Blow. Okay, if you penetrate a critical with Bone Shatter, plus T or plus P again to damage. Okay, we gotta have that one. That's pretty cool. So basically what it will do is it's a slow action that does weapon damage plus 3 times 1, my tier, plus 3. But if I penetrate a critical, I add plus P again to damage. Now, my penetration for melee is an 11 and my accuracy is a 14. So basically if I hit, I'm probably going to hit penetrate, which means I will get another plus 11 to damage. So yeah, we got to do that. That's sort of that's probably going to be my bread and butter for Tetsuo. Shadow Blow, General Exploit, 1 foe, melee. Yeah, melee weapon range, which is it's going to just be adjacent, but that's fine. Melee damage plus 3. What's the other conditions here? If you penetrate plus P2 damage. That will be insane. That will be absolutely insane. Oh, it's probably a slow, but let's just double check. Yeah, slow. Cool. Okay. So now let's look at the others. So Heroic Strike, I remember looked pretty cool. So with Heroic Strike, your first Amplify effect applied is a free action and does not count toward your Amplify limit. Okay. So what that means is I could basically stack Staccato Strike that we had before. I could basically stack that twice. So if let me try to calculate this in my head. So I could do 2 slow actions in a turn. So if I'm not moving, I could do a Heroic Strike first and then trigger a Staccato Strike off of that to get my free hit. And then with my second slow action, I could use Bone Shatter Blow, apply Staccato Strike to that because that's a oh no, I couldn't do that because it's a fast action. Yeah. Yeah. So the problem is why I stopped there is Heroic Strike is a slow. And if I apply my amplify, that's cool, that's free. So I'd have a slow or 2 fast actions, but my amplify, if I want to apply it again, is a fast. So I could only use it with another fast action, which would not make any sense. So it sounds cool, but I don't know when I would use it, because like I don't have an attack that's a fast action, and in fact I don't really know if I'm gonna have many fast actions with Tetsuo in general. Let's skip that for now, because it sounds good, but if I don't have any other way to use that second fast action to actually, like, you know, use the second amplify for, it doesn't quite seem that useful. And let's see, this, yeah, even my range attack is slow, so I couldn't even do that. Yeah, so that's a little tricky. Let's see now, cleave. Yeah. Huh. So basically I could do an attack and then spend another slow action to give them 8 stacks of vulnerability. It's not so great because I'm going for penetration, which would bypass their armor anyway. I'm gonna kind of ignore that one. That's a little disappointing. Taunt. All actions by target foe that target another hero target you instead until your next turn. Actions that target multiple heroes must include you as a target. Okay, that's pretty cool. I should probably take that one because I'm going to be playing with a squishy teammate who will die very quickly if things go after him. So it's a general, it's an exploit, 1 foe, ranged 5. Not the best range. All actions must target me until my next turn. Let's see, all enemy or foe actions. What are you, Taunt? Taunt, you are fast. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so last one. This is a little tough. This is a little trickier. So my choices are shove, deflect, and blood rush. So I should call out that I don't actually have a trigger. I want to use up my action economy where I can. So by not having a trigger, I'm kind of missing out here. If I take deflect, if I take damage, just -5 damage taken from a hero, and it's a fast action. I mean, that's pretty cool. I will have to keep a fast action free, which I don't know if I'm always going to do that. Yeah. Huh. Well, I think I would have a free action available. Let's see, if I was already in place, and we're not talking about moving, if I did a... Let me think about it. If I did a staccato strike on top of a lethal drive with bone shattering blow, well, I couldn't do that. If I did bone shattering blow with a staccato strike, I'd have 1 fast action left, which I would, yeah, I could use for taunt. Or I could keep it for deflect, so I could do that. So basically, if I'm not moving, I could hit someone with bone shattering blow with staccato strike to get the 2 attacks, and then leave that free action, the fast action open for my off turn for the trigger from deflect to decrease an attack from an enemy. I mean, it's pretty situational, but let's be honest, he's the tank. He's gonna need stuff like this if it's just 2 guys playing. So let's just do that. That's a trigger, and it does give me a trigger because I didn't have one before. And like I said, I hate missing out on the action economy. I have all sorts of tricks. Melee. What I can try. Oh, also, oh, cool. It's 1 hero. It's not self. So this is better. This is even better now. So I could actually do this for my buddy if he is in melee range with me. This is probably not where he needs to be, but if he just happens to be in melee range with me, I could reduce damage for him. So that's actually even better. At first glance, I thought it was just for me, but not necessarily. So trigger. A hero takes damage from a foe not a goo, but a foe action. And we're going to say -5 damage taken. That's cool. I am curious when this applies, if that applies after resistance or before resistance, or rather barrier. Oh well, we'll see. Okay, now I have to pick 2 from my class Tide Turner actions, and I gotta say the warrior class Tide Turner actions are fantastic. So the first one is Grand Divide. Melee damage and hit foe suffers fragility. I don't think that is gonna really make sense right now. Tier 2, I might take it when I'm fighting some tougher stuff, but I don't think as a Tide Turner that's something I need to spend a fast. That's a fast action, but I don't think I need to spend my 2 Tide Turner actions. I only have 2, or my Tide Turner charges. I don't want to spend one of them on just a really good, not even really good, but just kind of an average attack. I'm not gonna do that. What I am gonna do is Charging Strike. Now, Charging Strike has Tetsuo all over it. It's 1 foe, but it's a range of 10. Now, I may target a foe behind cover. If you do, remove all squares of cover directly between you and your target. So he goes like on a mad charge, just knocking shit and busting shit between him and his enemy. Then make 2 move actions directly toward your target as free actions, followed by a basic melee attack at +4 accuracy if you are in range. Wow. So let's talk about the synergy on that guy with everything else that I have. So if I have a lethal drive going, which I would to trigger this, what that means is these 2 free move actions that I will get will trigger that. So when I do finally arrive, my first attack will not only have the +4 from the Tide Turner, it will also have the +10 damage on the hit, and I can tack onto that Staccato Strike, so that when I finally do land and I do hit them, I get another basic attack for free on top of that. So yeah, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is going to be amazing if it works. If it lands on someone, this is going to be a fantastic alpha strike on them. This is good. This is going to be like a murder ability. So yeah, I kind of need this. This is perfect. One foe. Range melee 10. That's pretty incredible. Let's see. Target a foe. I just love it that you can target a foe behind cover. It's like they cannot escape you. Foe behind cover. Destroy cover. And make 2 free move actions. Followed by a basic attack at +4 accuracy if in range. So that's, you know what? That's interesting. At +4 accuracy, I wonder if that means that the range they're talking about is this range. So like, could I charge 10 and then attack someone? Or my 2 movement attacks, I'm moving 10 squares and then I can attack someone 10 squares away? That's insane. I don't know. I'll have to ask about that because that doesn't sound right. But it's a slow, as I would expect, because damn, if that was anything else, that would be insane. Okay. And then Unstoppable Force is kind of a gimme. But those times that he needs to bring himself back. It's a shame it's not a trigger, but it is what it is. Nothing to put in that box. Let's see. Heal. 1/2 max HP. Let's see. I bet it's a fast. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's fair. You have healing classes. They need to do their thing. That is what it is. So I think at this point... Oh, that's right. We got to do Keepsakes. So the next part are Keepsakes, which are kind of like items that the character has. All characters start off with the Emberwind Spark, which allows them to modify a roll +4 or -4 whenever they would like. You might ask, why would you do -4? Well, you could do a minus value if you were close to a crit. Like, you know, if I had a hit, and like in Tetsuo's case, he needs to roll a 2 or lower to get a crit. If I rolled like, you know, 6, I could lower that down to a 2, and then all of a sudden it's a crit. So that's perfect. But you get to create one more keepsake for your character. So this is interesting. So there's a lot of choices here, and I've kind of already gone through these, so I kind of know what I'll be looking for. I'm going for the one that makes your next action have the auto critical property. So my critical is a 2. So I'm not gonna crit too much with Tetsuo. But what auto critical does means you hit, you automatically critical, which means you automatically do max damage and you bypass all of their armor. So if I can only do that once per milestone, or, you know, basically once per combat, you know, from when I'm going to be playing him. And it's a fast action, so we'll actually have to spend an action for it. But that basically means, that's like, it's like one combat I can just straight out murder someone. So I'm going to put that effect. Your next action gains the auto hit property. Action is fast and 1 per milestone. So what would this keepsake be? So let's say Tetsuo is he's probably an older warrior. It's funny, he's tier 1, but we'll ignore that. He's an older warrior who has left his farm to travel and combat and to fight the evil forces of undecided fantasy world with his buddy Vulcan. And his family, let's say his keepsake here is a wooden comb that he keeps in his belt that was made for him by his daughter. To remind him of home. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Okay. So I think at this point we could create anchors and deadweights, but to be honest, I'm just gonna be playing this guy in combat, so there's not much point in that. Taking a look at the character sheet, yeah, I think he's done. I think we've got him. I think he's pretty solid here. I am not too thrilled about the low accuracy that he's got, but you know, in play we will see how it goes. Yeah, I might regret only having a +4 accuracy, you know, bringing it from 10 to 14. Like a 70% chance of hit isn't great, and unfortunately with him, if he doesn't hit, then you know, he doesn't do anything. So that could be a bad idea, but we'll just have to see him play how it goes. Well, thanks guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. The next video, we are going to create Vulcan, his druid buddy, in a much similar situation here, a similar fashion here, going through the rules and creating a character. But this has been fun, and if you like it, please stick around the video after we create Vulcan. I'm going to throw these two guys in combat and see if they can survive. But until next time, it's been GM Josh, and so long, and I'll see you out there.